Hi everyone, I'm Shahar Tzafrir. I'm a managing partner in TLV Partners. We're at our office today, and with me is Dov, co-founder and CEO of Converge. Dov, awesome seeing you.
Likewise, how's it going, Shahar?
Awesome. So what we thought we'll do today is briefly touch upon your story, how you transitioned to becoming a founder, and the story of Converge, the huge opportunity that you're tackling. Let's start with you, Dov. Who are you?
So I grew up in Jerusalem. I then did a bachelor's in computer science and a master's in bioinformatics. In my master's, I discovered novel CRISPR-Cas systems using machine learning. And ultimately, the systems that I discovered were licensed to an American biotech company. And
that's pretty rare as a student, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty rare. I think I was fortunate to work with Professor David Burstein, he's an incredible scientist and pushed us in the intersection of innovation and machine learning within the biological context. And really all of his work is extremely innovative and relevant, and I'm really lucky to be working with him.
Let me take a step back. Why biology?
Okay, so on a very, I grew up religious, and I think on a very theological level, I'm always looking for explanation on what is the meaning of life and the purpose of life.
For me too.
Yeah. And I think for me, going into the university and learning about genetics and really understanding the basic building blocks of how life is created and how life interacts was an incredible revelation. And it just boggled my mind. And I kept on learning down in that rabbit hole of understanding the intricacies of biology, microbiology, evolution, and really fortunate to be in a point in time where there's massive amounts of data to really harness extremely good computational methods in order to understand biological information better. From my theological perspective even, it's really understanding life at its core. And I'm really lucky to have that. And
your timing was good, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And you've personally witnessed this transition that biology has experienced over the past 5 years or so, right?
Yeah.
What was it like? What are the fundamental things that you believe have changed?
Yeah, so I think there are three fundamental changes. One is architectures, model architectures, artificial intelligence model architectures. The second is the abundance of data, and the third is compute, GPUs. So those are the three pillars that are really driving this massive transformation that we're seeing in general in any kind of sequence of information, be it text, image, audio, and also in biological data. And really lucky to be at this inflection point of massive changes in abundance of data. So biological data is becoming more and more cheaper and cheaper as time goes by, and to a point where there's just massive amounts of data, not always high quality data, and that's a huge challenge that we're dealing with. The second is architectures led by transformer models that have completely transformed, no pun intended, everything. And also within biological context. And lastly, the leaps in GPU and supercomputing in general in the last few years that allows us and the ecosystem to train large models on this kind of data.
We'll keep our viewers with a bit more suspense about what it is that Converge does, but what happened after university? How did you transition into becoming an entrepreneur? Was it something you always knew you wanted?
Yeah, so I took before university, I worked in a small startup, and I got locked on startup life. I think it's an amazing thing to do, particularly in Israel, just an amazing startup ecosystem. And then I wanted to work in a venture capital firm, and I worked as an entrepreneur in residence at a VC, and really eye-opening experience to learn more and more on this ecosystem.
That was a kind of a premeditated step in a master plan?
I wouldn't say premeditated. I think it was, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I got the opportunity to be an entrepreneur in residence. Right. So the master plan was, yes, entrepreneurship. I believe that as a scientist, even though there's a lot to do within the realm of science, I felt like the real place that's really driving innovation today is the world of the industry. And we're seeing this now with the Nobel Prize in chemistry lastly going to Google to DeepMind for AlphaFold, and the real rooting for him. And the real innovation is happening outside of the academia. Is obviously, I don't want to trash academia at all. They're obviously doing an amazing job, but the amount of resources going into the industry is just unbelievable, and I think allows us to do amazing science.
They are better funded.
Yeah.
They attract talent. They pay them extremely well.
Yeah.
I think one of the unique things is that some of the biggest innovation has come from these large corporations who have this scientific group. For example, the attention is all you need, the transformer paper that came from Google and so forth. So you spent time at the VC. What's the most surprising thing you learned at the VC? It wasn't our VC.
That's a great question.
Or the most beneficial thing
No, I
you learned?
think the most beneficial is that there are playbooks on how to ideate towards a commercially viable startup. I don't think they fit every realm, but I think that learning that it's not an aha moment necessarily of an idea.
You don't run out of a bathtub.
Exactly. That's not it. And I think rigorously working on an idea and working through to get into it. And by the way, the idea for this company wasn't even myself. It was Oded, my co-founder. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
No, I absolutely agree. I think after a while in VC and before that as an entrepreneur myself for 17 years, you learn that there is a master plan and there is an architecture, but the fact that there is an architecture doesn't make it any easier or doesn't increase your odds of success. But there are like basic things you need to construct one on top of the other. So let's move over to Converge. When did Converge start?
So Converge started April 2024, so a year and a half ago. I really remember our meetings. I think it's a moment to say that there was a master plan in meeting you, Shahar, particularly. We made a list of the VCs that we want to interact with and what partners within the VCs, and we prioritize them according to an order, and Shahar was number one. I'm not saying this as it's just the real truth. And we did a master plan to get to you ready enough after we've kind of worked the story with a bunch of VCs, and really happy that once we got to you, Shahar, things...
Same here, love it first sight. I have to say, and that's a note to other founders, I mean, the intro was made through a trusted party. So you picked like the most relevant person to say, hey, you should meet these guys, which immediately prioritized you, and it helps. I mean, we, as a VC, we try to meet everyone, but it helps to be introduced by someone trustworthy.
Yeah, and it's not by chance. I mean, and this is for entrepreneurs listening, we, within the series, the seed and the series A, we conducted ourselves with a database of the investors that we want to work with, and for each investor, exactly who are the intros, the trusted introductions to reach through. And I recommend, this is a trick that I recommend using.
I think it's more than a trick. I think from the flip side, it demonstrates a point for us as well that you're thoughtful about how you approach even at this very early stage your process. I mean, the fact that you took into account that getting an intro, who the intro should be from, is kind of a telltale sign because of how you think about things. Because what can we evaluate when we meet two guys and an idea?
Yeah.
So every small detail helps, and that's a helpful sign.
I agree. I think even in the way we conduct our business now, so the way you reach to a customer, a very strategic customer, is if you reach through a trusted third party, then it dramatically increases the probability of success. Yeah.
And here too, I mean, it has a lot to do with the stage, right? The first 20, 30 clients, you do like a very tailored campaign of one, targeting them exactly as you do with VCs at the seed stage. A the A round your strategy changes, the B round your strategy changes, both for clients, for employees, for funding.
Yeah.
So you need to always, what has worked for you at one stage will not necessarily work at the same.
Yeah.
And being extremely flexible at all times is paramount, which is something you show. So you started on April. What happened then?
So really lucky to have you, Shahar, lead our series, our seed round of $5.5 million. Thank you, Shahar. And so really launching at that point.
What is Converge about?
Okay, so at that point...
End of suspense.
End of suspense. So let's start with the opportunity. It's relatively trivial, but I mean, if we look at the biopharma market, we're talking about give or take a $5 trillion market, one of the largest markets you could imagine. Eli Lilly just reached $1 trillion in market cap, first one to reach. Amazing, just amazing. Yeah. And even if we compare it to the whole cyber market, we're talking about $500 billion. Right. So 10x the cyber market. So it's a massive opportunity. Now, what is the largest bottleneck for this industry is the speed to getting a drug into the market. So we're talking
which
about,
is expensive.
Which is extremely expensive.
And takes ages.
We're talking about give or take 15 years, give or take $2 billion on average, give or take 10% success rate.
Right. The reason they do that, by the way, is that a good drug could make you $1 trillion.
Exactly.
So it's worth the gamble for these pharma companies.
Yeah, it's an amazing business ultimately. And I mean, what are we willing to pay for more than to save our lives or to increase our health? And it is an amazing business. And an amazing scientific opportunity. So ultimately, that's the master challenge of how to bring better drugs faster into to patients.
Right, but that's a challenge that has been in place for the last 30 years.
Exactly. So that's just the master challenge. And then let's talk about what's happening now in the world and intersect it with that master challenge. So over the last few years, obviously, we've seen the massive influx of generative models in text, image, and audio. And what we've learned as a scientific ecosystem is transformer models, diffusion models, and generative models at large are just very, very good at learning sequences of information, be it text, image, or audio. So the same thing goes for biological sequences of information, be it DNA, RNA, proteins, and even small molecules. So every single one of these molecular information types can be represented as strings of text, a one-to-one representation. And when using transformer or diffusion models to train these models on that type of data, we're seeing now a completely transformative type of models to predict biological outcomes, to generate novel biological material, and to explain biological outcomes.
Right. So you're saying that the same incredible concept of GPT and transformers that has demonstrated beyond belief its ability to predict next character, next letter, next word, and now images and audios and videos applies to the core data of life, to DNA, RNA, small molecules.
Exactly.
Is there enough data? Because when it comes to text, video, and audio, humanity has created a lot of data.
Yeah.
How much data do we have when it comes to biological data?
So that's an amazing question. And if we look at the amount of data, there's 400 times more DNA data
That was
on
a
the
trick
internet.
question.
Yeah, it's a trick question. There's 400 times more DNA data than text on the internet. So, and why is this? We have to ask ourselves what happened. So over the last 15 years, we've seen a rapid increase in the cost of sequencing molecular data.
Right, from 20 million 20 years ago to tens of dollars.
Exactly, yeah. And it's just, it opens a massive opportunity for one of the largest bottlenecks in our industry of not having enough data. Right. Now, the fact that there's an abundance of data doesn't mean this is unlabeled data, completely unstructured, that only can be used for unsupervised generative training.
Right, there's not an author who wrote a promising textbook. And you can't really do fine-tuning by someone looking at the answers and saying, this answer is good or not good, and reinforce how the model behaves.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of data. Some of it is noisy, dirty, unannotated. What happens then?
So if we're talking about the parallel of what is RLHF or supervised training, then in our industry, we're talking about experimental data, labeled experimental data of molecular interactions, molecular properties, and that's already very expensive to create. Right. So we have an abundance of unlabeled data, but a very, very little amount of quality labeled data, and that's one of the biggest challenges.
Experimentally validated as well.
And that's one of the massive moats that we're developing is labeling data at scale, developing a very, very large database of labeled data in order to retrain foundation models with better data.
Right.
Yeah.
So this leads to the next question. I mean, you've mentioned that the opportunity has to do, on the one hand, with the market size, the second with the disruption, with the ability of molecular data to become available at several orders of magnitude lower, the abundance of data, cost of compute. But what's the grand vision of Converge? If you were to kind of describe what it is that Converge would do to the world in 2 years' time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time, what would you be? And you'll probably be watching this in 2 years, 5 years, and 10 years' time.
It would be interesting. It's like seeing Mr. Beast releasing a decade from now. Okay, so
and he has good videos.
He has good videos. Yeah, definitely. So ultimately what we're looking at is, it is a simplistic vision. Let's say we are reducing time to market and creating better drugs. So that's an extremely naive vision statement. And let's reduce that extremely naive vision statement into practice. Is the way I see the future unfolding is that this whole industry is based on wet labs. Okay, and what are wet labs in essence? They're a means to trial and error.
Yeah, wet labs is actually a euphemism for human or animals being experimented on, for us non.
Yeah, exactly. But we're talking about physical labs with physical limitations.
Right.
And the way that the generative simulations are becoming more and more powerful and more accurate is that we see the future is that every single company in this industry will have a wet lab and a generative lab. Right. Where the generative lab will be where they run all of the generative simulations. And ultimately, we want to be the generative lab of the whole industry.
Right. That's quite a statement.
Yeah.
So you want that all these organizations would use Converge lab, generative lab, for multiple experiments, and know that they're scientifically validated, which would save them considerable time, considerable cost, and improve quality of lives of animals that are being experimented on.
Definitely, and ultimately improve quality of life of humans who receive better drugs faster.
Yeah, I remember an old joke that there's someone in a pharma event saying to all mice in the audience, I have some great news. We know how to cure cancer.
That's great.
Yeah, so this playbook should change with you over time. Now that we talked about you, let's talk about your two co-founders. Can you share how you met, your background, their personal story?
So Oded, our CTO, Oded, his background, he led a group of 20 AI engineers in a cybersecurity company. And he's been programming since he was 8 years old. Incredibly curious person. Just kind of how the company was created. So Oded, during COVID, trained in a foundation model on open source COVID data.
Right.
And used it to classify variants of COVID.
Right.
It's just an incredible thing. And Iddo, who our chief scientific officer, has a PhD in bioinformatics and was most recently VP R&D in Biomics.
Right. Publicly
traded company. And he's just an incredible scientist. Also was a professional basketball player.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, it's not, we go sometimes on Fridays and it's not fun to lose to him.
I have a funny story. The wife of one of the founders I invested in used to be a professional basketball player. And I remember a company retreat where a bunch of the employees were playing basketball and they called her in and she just demolished them. Yeah. Because you don't expect like a tiny little... Iddo.
But
with Iddo, you can suspect because...
Right, with the height, you can suspect.
You can suspect.
Yeah. And really amazing.
And he's the one who actually connected the
exactly.
two of you.
He's the one. So Iddo and myself know each other from the top excellence program in Tel Aviv University. And Iddo and Oded know each other from way back when. And he is kind of the glue that connected us together. Yeah.
Right. Let's get back to the seed stage. Although you're now post round A and you've added an incredible fund and an incredible director to your company. But at the seed stage, one of the remarkable things for me is that we've spent a couple of months together. I mean, I see that some startups rush things around and they're so eager to get funded that they don't care that much or who the investment is going to be. They try to optimize terms and speed, which for some investments, it does make sense. But you guys really wanted to make sure that I'm aligned with your vision, that the fund is aligned with yours. So we've been to, I guess, at least 10 meetings before both of us felt like completely secure. And you didn't try to rush things through, although you did play your cards well by saying, hey, we are starting to get other offers. We're checking other avenues. Yeah. So it was both transparent, but non-pushy. Yeah. Which I really appreciated. But another interesting anecdote is that the horrendous October War started while we were meeting and you were all serving in like elite classified combat roles. And I remember, to my amazement, that from the field, you were contacting me with updates about the markets, about customers. I mean, you were gone for like 2 weeks in survival mode, coming back for the weekend and immediately pursuing your startups even further. And that, to me, that was the final kind of point, because this level of resilience and commitment is exemplary. And this ties to another point. I mean, I saw Paul Graham recently, who some people don't really appreciate, I think is brilliant. He mentioned the fact that curiosity can't be faked, and your story about your co-founder creating this modeling of COVID, he did that out of pure curiosity. It's not that he was thinking about creating a startup. It's not that he was just so passionate about the science that he would work 24/7 on this specific issue that was like the cornerstone of what you guys later became.
Yeah.
So it's a point to other founders listening to us. It's really helpful if you're really passionate about what it is that you're trying to do, and you need to kind of leverage your strength and work on areas that you believe are fundamentally different and you're also personally connected to.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think first of all, let's start with Oded. He's just an unbelievably curious individual, and the passion really drives him. Maybe from my end, I mean, I'm also extremely passionate, and I'll say candidly that in some points I was just, okay, I want to build a startup.
Right.
Which is not the way to build a startup. I think you should be starting from passion, and thankfully that Oded is there, that
he brought more than enough.
Yeah, exactly. He brought more than enough.
But I'll caveat that by saying that you did pursue a startup in an area that you indoctrinated yourself for quite a while.
Yeah, definitely. No. I mean, for me, I can't imagine a life a brighter life to deal with this.
More satisfying on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly. It's just unbelievable. I think we're building the best generative AI lab and backed by the best generative AI scientists in the world. And it's just an incredible feeling to be working with the best scientists you can imagine, tackling such a difficult problem and such a meaningful problem. And I'm just really happy to wake up every morning to work together with the amazing team. And definitely Oded's curiosity as the spark of this company is unbelievable.
Right, and you have assembled an incredible team, quite a lot of PhDs and masters. How large is your team right now?
So we're now 32.
Right, and you're extremely selective.
We're very selective. Now, I mean, we try to be at about 10 interviews per person that we take. That's give or take where we are. And we're being extremely selective, and it's paying off. And these extremely selective people are bringing on very selective individuals. And I think we're building an amazing
I've
team.
heard it kind of became a competition. Are we good enough to get accepted into Converge, right?
Yeah.
I've heard it through the grapevine that people are trying.
Thanks. No, it's really incredible to have the opportunity to be working with the top talent that this ecosystem can offer. And we're really proud that we can bring bioinformatics and the excellence of the intersection of AI and biology into play in a commercial setting.
Right. Yeah. Let's segue to day-to-day in the life of a founder. What's a typical day or a week like? I mean, how was this week for you?
So this week was great. I think, first of all, interviewing a lot ever since the recent fundraising. So we're growing and building, bringing an even better team. So an intersection of about 15 customer calls, 10 interviews, strategy meetings, thinking about the next year's budget.
Right.
And I think that's kind of give or take my life.
That's like 12 hours a day.
That's 12 hours of work, and then, I don't know, 4 hours on the phone kind of answering messages and intros and things like that. And a lot of ordering food on Walt, and
Right, that takes time as well.
That takes time as well. Yeah. I'm a very good. I say to my wife, I'm a great chef. I know how to order on Walt.
You know what to pick.
Exactly. Yeah. For me, one of the most potentially surprising things is how fast Shahar responds to my messages. It's insane. Like, it's the speed of light. And I'm thinking, how can Shahar be always responsive so fast? And
you have very good time optimization.
Yeah.
Pick the
And
right
I've
time.
tried it all, and every single time of day, and really always there to brainstorm, to think together, to communicate, and it's really, I mean, incredible. And also from an operational standpoint, it just really makes things faster. Us to make faster decisions. When I get an extremely fast answer and reply, and let's get on a Zoom, let's talk, let's meet, let's have a coffee. Everything just becomes faster. And I think at a cumulative manner, that the fact that with your board you can interact in such speed saves months in wasting time for a company, and not wasting time on what will the board member think, and just to ask, let's talk, let's get on a call. And yeah, so thank you, Shahar, for that.
My pleasure. Now there's the benchmark I need to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everyone knows now. So Yeah.
Though one of the themes around these interviews, like a tagline, is behind the investment. So is there anything you can share to other founders, employees about the type of feedback assistance you get from a VC, from us specifically, and things you want to kind of open the curtain on?
What do you need from a VC? Okay, so this is maybe controversial or not controversial, but I think first of all, as an entrepreneur, you need money. The second thing for what you need from a VC is not to disturb. And the third thing is to help.
Right.
And I think it's very, very important to really, within the second category, really give trust to find the best entrepreneurs in the world. And I hope we're a group like that you can completely trust, and let them make mistakes and make the wrong decisions and have complete trust, and always be with extreme confidence to use number 3 to really, but I mean, I love it, Shahar, that you never impose your opinion on the one hand, but you're extremely opinionated on the other hand. So, I mean, it's just an amazing combination that is really, really efficient, that you allow us to make our mistakes, and we've had our mistakes, and really there at any given moment to give the right advice and move us forward.
Oh, thank you so much. It's actually, I'm very happy you said that, because this is like something fundamental. I was an entrepreneur myself, and I think one of the most fundamental things for me as a VC is that I had a couple of really asshole VCs on my board as an entrepreneur who were extremely opinionated. Even when they lacked data, they were forceful. There was a lot of arguments going for all the time. And I said to myself that if I ever were to become a VC, I'll be extremely opinionated, but make it very clear to the founders that it's their call. And I think another point is, which is very important, is being extremely objective about areas you're clueless about. And I have kind of no concern about saying, hey, I don't know anything about this. I have some intuition, but let's figure out from someone else. So not mixing up, not trying to sound smart when you have no idea, which is something I strongly believe in.
Yeah, I feel it every day. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Dov. Congratulations on your A round, and we look forward to seeing this together in 2 years, 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah, maybe 1 year, 2 years. Yeah, it might be shorter.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.